Well, the end of that music video was interesting.
Yeah, I got a little scared there.
But yeah, these guys are super cool. They just released their newest EP. I think it was literally, as of recording this, it was the Friday before last that it came out, which was the 20th.
Oh, cool. I'll have to check that out. I'll tell you, my favorite part of the song was it was what I'm assuming is the chorus, but how they dropped out so much, like kind of into a simple, it's like the drummer wasn't doing anything crazy, right? He's just kind of pinging and no one's doing anything wild, but it dropped out enough that the vocals had that melody to it. That was awesome. I really liked that.
This is another case where it's like a masterclass in keeping things simple and doing the most with the few bits that you have.
Yeah, I would agree. Man, there was so much I liked about that. The drum tone was awesome. I really enjoyed how the drums sound. I'm a bit of a synth guy.
Huge.
Oh my god, yeah. But very live, like in the room too.
Yeah, it didn't sound sample replaced. It sounded just like a very well recorded drum kit.
I would agree with that completely, and it's hard to get kicks right, and that kick sounded awesome. As a synth fan, I really like that, like our little arpeggiated thing that was going on in there.
It's one of those things that probably like on its own sounds kind of dinky, but like when you put it in a mix, it just adds that extra little flavor that you need. I find that like when you're trying to figure out like auxiliary parts for songs to just kind of add that little bit of momentum, a lot of the time like the simpler the part is, the stupider it sounds on its own, the better it's going to sound in the mix.
Oh, 100%. So are you familiar enough with these guys to know, is that little ending part, was that specific for the video, or is that how the song sounds on record? Because if it sounds like that on record, shout out to the sound design guy, because that end bit with all the reverse vocals and stuff was really cool.
I think that's just on the YouTube video, because I've listened to the record a few times and I have never heard that before. So yeah, I think that's exclusive to the music video, but it is very cool sounding.
Yeah, especially in headphones. I'll tell you, shout out to that sound design guy.
Yeah, that was great. I really liked that.
There was something else I was going to bring up, but oh yeah, that's right. I also really, I'm a sucker for like the big like gang vocals. So like that kind of like post chorus, just the da 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 da, and with the synth following that line too, like that hits so hard. It really works amazing for this song.
And they did it really well too, because I mean, so many times like bands try and do that kind of stuff and it just sounds very cheesy or out of place, but you know, the way the singer is already singing and the flow of the song, it just fits.
I feel like it's already a very roomy mix. It sounds like you're listening to them playing live as opposed to like a more produced, like kind of separated sound, if that makes sense. And I think that's part of why it works so well, is because it already sounds more lively than a typical studio recording. And so adding that like live gang vocals to it just feels natural.
Especially what it does to like when they play that song live. You know what I mean? Like those are the kind of songs that like people were like, you know, they'll sing those parts, or they'll hum them, or you know what I mean? They know it's there even if he doesn't do it live. But yeah, I mean
that's what I'm saying. They're coming through Detroit in like a month and a half, and I'm like, I have to see these guys.
Yeah, you better be out there and went right with them.
Is it
definitely?
Is it St. Andrews? Are you seeing them at St. Andrews?
No, they're playing at a even smaller venue, formerly PJ's Lager House, now just the Lager House.
Yeah.
Super cool small venue in Corktown, Detroit. Maybe like 100, 150, 200 cap. Like it's a small venue, very intimate, but it's a super cool place. A lot of local Detroit bands get their start at that venue.
I want to say that I played that years ago, back when it was still PJ's.
It's been PJ's up until like a month or two ago when he retired.
Oh, okay. So very recent change.
Yeah, super cool venue. Highly recommend if you're looking to put together like a smaller DIY show and you're coming through Detroit. Highly recommend them as a very cool venue to check out. Also, the drinks are super cheap, so I like going there because of that too. So where are we going next after this group here?
So my third and final pick, this is actually a band that I saw in Baltimore years ago at the Charm City Art Space, which I don't even know if it's still available or still around. I don't think it is. But the band's called Tommy Boys. And
I feel like I've heard of these guys.
So
I'm not sure though.
Anything you look up from this band is like, why did they stop? Like, why did they stop making music, right? And basically, they did a full length album, and it's great front to back. It's so good, and they went on like a little tour for it and stopped playing. And you can't really find
so wild.
Yeah, you can't really find anything about them since then, really. I mean, people have been begging them to come back and, write some new tunes, but it's just like nothing.
I wonder if it's going to be like an American football situation. They'll come back a decade later.
And be bigger than they ever were.
Yeah, and they're even...
Yeah, exactly. Have a very underground following, and then come back a decade later and then just be huge.
Yeah, and I mean, they did it for American football came back and they did it for 2 years, maybe 3. They did another album and now they're kind of done again. So it's just all in cycles with these bands.
They're in the zeitgeist now, though. Like everybody who knows like that type of music knows who the fuck they are.
Oh yeah, I would say that American football was a big influence on I'd say us, but me specifically, at least when it comes to like the tunings that they use. A lot of those alternate tunings, like we looked to bands like that to go like, you could do that and it not be a shtick. It can really be like a very unique part of your sound.
The emo movement overall, that kind of like twinkly, weird tuning, like capo Telecaster sound was like they pioneered that,
Oh, and yeah, I was gonna say I feel attacked, but I feel like we're just kind of keeping the dream alive. I don't know, but yeah, we'll get to it. This song's called Atlantic Grandeur.